on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to episode number 2 of The Gist of It. Now, this week is going to be a different kind of week. I'm not going to be talking about a big piece of news, or I'm not going to be talking about a happening in the gaming industry per se, but I am going to be kind of tying it into this Friday's giant game releases. Now, these releases do include Super Mario Odyssey, which I think is going to be one of the biggest selling games of the holiday season, and probably one of the greatest hits whenever the Nintendo Switch is all said and done and its console lifecycle is up. Super Mario Odyssey is going to go down in history as one of those big titles. But on top of that, we have the release of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, and Assassin's Creed Origins. And so whenever I was talking about the drop earlier in the week and I was kind of planning out that video, I was thinking about these three big games, how they're releasing alongside of one another, and I kind of started developing a hypothesis that I thought would make for a good episode of The Gist of It, which is what we're talking about here today. Now, the hypothesis that I came up with revolves around the idea that you are the company that you keep. In other words, if you don't play games and you hang out with 3 other people that do play games, then there's a solid chance that you will pick up that habit as well. It's that kind of concept. You can apply it to drinking, you can apply it to smoking, you can apply it to other positive things like doing well in school and riding a bike. I don't know, something else positive. But you understand what I'm saying. So when it comes to games, I feel like a similar kind of idea can also be applied. And we see a good example of this coming Friday, and one that's actually kind of relevant to me because it's happening between myself and my perception of Assassin's Creed Origins. So of course, Assassin's Creed Origins is the return of the prodigal son, so to speak. We're seeing the return to the origins of Assassin's Creed, which is both in the name and in the gameplay, where you see some kind of reworked combat, you see some new kinds of ideas being incorporated into a brand new setting, and hopefully this is going to be the return to form of one of my favorite franchises of all time. I kind of grew up with Assassin's Creed, if you will. I remember playing the original back in 2008, and then I played the subsequent games that came after that, and I really did love all of them, but then they started to kind of taper off. I kind of lost interest right after Brotherhood. That's when they started losing me. Revelations wasn't that great. I was okay with 3. Syndicate was not that great, and of course, Unity, we don't talk about Unity. But this week marks the proving ground for Assassin's Creed if it's going to remain a big headlining title over the next few years, as more Assassin's Creed games are going to be coming down the pipe. This is its final chance to kind of return to its former glory, and so I knew that going in, and I was kind of tapering my expectations, but for some reason, after watching a bit of gameplay, I mean less than 5 minutes of gameplay whenever I was making the drop, and then looking at the games that it's releasing alongside of and where it's falling in the holiday season, for some reason my perception of the game has actually improved a good bit over the course of the last 7 days, and that is not something that I really expected to happen. So that's where the hypothesis comes into play. For some reason, my perception of Assassin's Creed has improved tenfold over the course of the past week after watching about 5 minutes of gameplay, and then seeing that it's coupled alongside Super Mario Odyssey and Wolfenstein 2 in this week's new releases. I feel like the reputation, and the good reputation at that, of Wolfenstein and Super Mario Odyssey is actually rubbing off on Assassin's Creed Origins, because in my mind it feels like this is a game that should probably be out in the middle of September, or even into the middle of December, right before the holiday season wraps up, where it is subject to the scrutiny of the community overall, and that just feels like the right place for an Assassin's Creed to fit. But the fact that it's right here in the midst of the holiday season alongside the likes of these giant titles kind of makes it seem like more of a competitor than it may really be. And of course, I might be kind of misperceiving or misunderstanding this entire kind of situation and setup here, but I feel like it definitely is impacting it to some degree. Another example of a release date impacting a game overall is what we saw last year with Titanfall 2. That was a fantastic game. I loved the campaign. I thought the multiplayer was absolutely addicting and fantastic. If you haven't played Titanfall 2, please, by some stretch of the imagination, if you find time in the holiday season, please pick up Titanfall 2. It's a budget title at this point, and it's still a very high quality game. But it came out in the midst of Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which was also coupled with Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, Infinite Warfare had a great campaign of what I've heard. I played the first couple of hours of it, and then I kind of tapered off because I got busy. But the fact of the matter is, there was a Modern Warfare Remastered last year. Even if it was bundled in with Infinite Warfare, it was still present, and it took a lot of the media spotlight. And so on top of that, you also have Battlefield 1, which was not the best game, but it was still a fantastic Battlefield game. And so in the midst of these two absolute Goliaths, you had Titanfall 2, which is kind of like the new kid on the block still. And so whenever you pit those up against each other, simply the new kid is going to fail, and that's kind of what we saw with Titanfall 2. It was by no means means a complete failure, but it did not get the attention that it truly did deserve. I feel like we're going to be seeing the inverse of that with Assassin's Creed Origins because it is in the midst of all these big releases. It's kind of presenting itself as a true competitor for your money and for your wallet, for your credit, whatever you pay with. It is presenting itself as a quality experience with the likes of Super Mario Odyssey and then also Wolfenstein 2 and the other games that are going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks. It is in the midst of the chaos, and that's a very bold move to make, especially with a franchise that's kind of gotten a bad rap over the course of the past couple of years. So when it comes down to it, the gist of it all is that release dates actually have a huge impact on the game, and I personally think that Assassin's Creed Origins is going to have a better reception within the gaming community overall because it is releasing alongside the likes of Super Mario Odyssey and Wolfenstein 2, and it's going to do better and perform better as far as sales go because it is in the midst of the chaos of the fall/holiday gaming season. So that's the gist of it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, drop me a like down below and in the comment section. Let me know what you think about what I said. Am I onto something here? Is Assassin's Creed going to do well this year? Or am I just completely insane? If you happen to be new to the channel, I do upload new stuff throughout the week, so I hope you guys check that out as well. But as for right now, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the week. I will talk to you on Friday with On the Topic of, and peace.